Good evening. Welcome to your public library. My name's Betty Ammon. I'm the Lucky Library Director, and along with a slew of other really talented people, we bring you library services all the time. We have history, art, music, space, and books. There's a saying in the library world that a good library has something to offend everyone. I think a great library also has something to please everyone. And in that vein, I'd like to present our speaker, Reilly. Rick?
Thank you. Now, it's not often you get a chance to interview the most famous librarian in the world. So, can we?
Still not.
I mean, you've been on BBC.
Yes.
You were in the New York Times.
I have to say yes.
Washington Post. They talked about you on Stephen Colbert. So, how does it feel to be so famous?
It feels humbling.
Okay, so I want to talk about this whodunit here in this library. Do you have any, it's kind of clever what the guy did. It's censorship, but it's kind of clever. Do you have any suspects? Because you showed me, I think you took a picture of the note, and it was in script.
Yes, angry cursive, as one of my staff said.
Angry cursive. Well, I mean, was the person writing through the paper?
Melissa, were they writing to the paper?
But cursive is like maybe an older generation like me. So it's got to be somebody a little older.
You're pretty old.
Okay. But and would you say it was like flowery, like a woman? No?
I don't know. I just don't know.
What? Was it a Sharpie?
No.
And can you tell the people about the drone?
Oh, yeah. Well, we were intent on trying to find these books that are hidden because many of you were putting holds on them and you wanted to read them. And then we go looking for them and we couldn't find them. So we looked and looked, and we have this many staff and we have this much stuff to do. So Tyler, who manages our circulation department, he brought in his drone. Yeah. And
he brought in a drone.
Yeah, he did.
But it's a library, Betty. What's a drone doing in a library?
Hey, what library doesn't have a drone?
I don't know. So you put the drone flying above the stacks?
Yeah.
And did it work?
Until he ran into one of the stacks and broke a blade.
And how long was that? How many hours into it was that?
Oh, I would say 15 minutes. It was fun, though. I have pictures of a lot of dust bunnies, for sure.
So have you had people saying, well, then I'm a lefty, I'm going to hide righty books?
No.
But you got a lot of righty books, right?
You bet.
So it's just been the one person, Mr. Idaho. Stephen Colbert called him Bookie Boy.
Bookie Boy. You called him Idaho.
Idaho, Spokane. The Spokane writer called him a book bandit.
Uh-huh.
But Stephen Colbert said, this is the worst culprit in your library since a toddler pooped in the book nook or something. The kids went. Does that happen here?
Well, of course. I mean, seriously, I've picked poop up, yes. Mandy has too. She's here.
Really? Were you kind of surprised to be on Colbert?
Oh, yeah.
Were you surprised I wrote about you in the Washington Post?
Oh, yes. I was surprised your publicist called me. I didn't know who the hell you were.
Man. See, I thought I was going to take shit from them. I'm taking it from you. Okay, So here's one of the great things that killed me was like, so I said to Betty, what are you going to do if you catch this guy? Oh, well, he'll definitely lose his library privilege. Really? But then she goes, but I got to give him a warning first. And then you wrote, after he wrote his comment, here's what Betty wrote. I'm sorry you're displeased with whatever. And she goes, if you have recommendations on titles you'd like for this library to buy, please let us know. Ooh. Whoa.
You're scared, aren't you?
It reminds me of this time I wrote this column about cheerleading. And I said, look, what? Yeah. I said, cheerleading's not a sport. Get it off my ESPN set. You know, and everybody hated this column. Like, people just really got upset about it. And I got like hate mail from cheerleaders. There you go. That's where I got the title. And they'd be like, I hope you die, Mr. Reilly, and a little heart over the eye. I remember, yeah, I will, yes. And one person wrote, I want you to know, Mr. Reilly, I purposely wrote this in difficult to read font. Like really 6-point calligraphy, scary. So you're not very scary, Betty. But, so earlier I hid 10 books up there, right?
He did. I helped him.
And I hid...
oh, look, somebody found something.
You found it? Where? Was it narcissism?
Oh.
Narcissism? True crime?
Oh, Hitler.
Oh, we've already found 3?
No, there's 4 or 5.
Oh.
Children's issues? I put one right next to Becoming Hitler. Did anybody find out? He found...
This is a smart crowd.
This is they get all the jokes.
Yeah.
Okay, and I said, so I think I said to you or somebody like, where would I put it where they'd never look for it, never find it? And you said, right next to your other books.
Who is he? The reference librarian right now, Shar, said, best quote of the night. Somebody said, I couldn't find a Reilly book hidden, but I found 100 other books to check out.
See, that's nice.
Nice.
That's nice. And as I said when this book came out, I'm not particularly a political person, and Trump, doesn't really. I don't want to get all upset over the politics or the voting. I'm offended as a golfer because he's saying he won tournaments he didn't win. He didn't even play in. He's saying he's a 3 handicap when Jack Nicklaus is a 3.5. I'm like, who would you bet on? And I've played with the guy. He took 7 mulligans in 1 round. So you can't say you're this great golfer. And so that's what really made me mad and wanted to write the book. But anyway.
So is this my cue to go
Yeah,
away?
leave.
Okay.
Yeah. Boy. She used to be so humble. Also, so I'm a sports writer, and I think tonight I'm the first sports writer to ever have a police escort. Right? There. Now, that's not to say I haven't been escorted by police. That's different. And also, I don't think I told you this, my nephew is a policeman in Boulder, Colorado. But that's very different than Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Yeah, there he has to arrest people if they're not high. You see, that's my home. So it's unbelievable. And then someone said there's a whole nother room somewhere of people. This is crazy. Where are they? Why were you late? Could have been here. So this is so great to see people because one time I did a book signing in Minneapolis, Minnesota on a kind of a snowy night at the Barnes & Noble in the Mall of America. And I get there like an hour early, like I did tonight, and they had, must have been 500 cookies stacked up like this, right? And then 2 giant vats of lemonade. And they had this many chairs, maybe a little more. And then they had a serpentine line with masking tape that wound through and out the door. I'm like, wow, you guys are expecting a big crowd. And oh yeah, we think it's going to be a huge crowd. One guy showed up. One guy sat right where you were sitting, and now I got to give my speech to one guy. So he sat there like you were sitting, and so I cut it down to like 15 minutes, and then he goes like this. Like, sir, you don't have to raise your hand to ask a question. You're the only person in there. And he's like, yes, sir, what is it? And he goes, can we eat them cookies? Yeah. But this is so crazy. I mean, I come to Coeur d'Alene every year to play. I'm buddies with John Elway, and he's got this great house on the lake, and he goes crazy fast in his boat, and we play Gaza Ranch, and then sometimes I go to Sun Valley, and we duck hunt, and I got relatives in Boise and Nampa, and so I love this state. And then I come here, and this place is packed, and then they said, you better be careful, and so now we got cops, and yes, if you're packing, you don't show it very well. So thank you. This book was nothing I ever wanted to write. This was I was sitting in Italy, retired happily from sports writing and writing movies, and we were living there I am living there 4 months a year, and I was just trying to set the world pasta slurping record, and I read on my phone Donald Trump telling people in 2016 that he is a great golfer, and he's won 18 club championships against the best golfers in the club. No strokes given. And that's why you should vote for me, because I'm a winner. And I'm like, yeah, except you already told me how you win all those club championships. And he clearly forgot, because I've known the guy for 35 years. What he does is, whenever he buys a new course, he plays the first round by himself, and with Melania in the cart, or whoever he's married to at the time. And unless that person gets really hot, he's going to win the club championship. And he puts it up, and so if you ever go to his clubs, you'll see his name is first. So I said, wait a minute, you can't tell people you won all, because that, like I say, I'm from a golfing family. I have a 90-year-old aunt, still wins her flight every year in Broomfield. Now, she's the only person in the flight, But so I started looking into this, and I started calling around like, could it possibly be Donald Trump is one, besides these, I knew about 11 fake ones, these other 7, could he have won those? Well, one time he was in Philly, and we held it here in New Jersey, and he called the next day and said, what won? And I said, Joe Schmertz shot a 75. He goes, well, I shot 73 up here in Philly, so make me the champ. So Joe Schmertz got yanked off, and Trump got put up. So that's not really fair to Joe Schmertz. And I'm like, gosh, I wonder if there's a whole article in this. So I started thinking maybe it was an SI article. And then I started hearing about how he bullies magazines to get his courses ranked higher and threatens to pull his ads if they don't rank his courses higher. He doesn't have any in the top 150 on the Golf Digest American list. But, I mean, he's got decent courses, but they're all got gold toilets and 100-foot waterfalls. When I played with him one time at Westchester, he had a 105-foot waterfall right behind the green. And he's like, so we're putting, and I'm like, Donald, you're away. What? You're away. What? Just putt. But then he's always, that's good, and he picks it up. So I started realizing there was a book in this, and the book has done really well. We had 4 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list, or as Trump would say, 4 years. Because with Trump, and I'm not saying anything people don't know, he gives everything. I always tell him, you give everything the Trump bump. So the Trump bump is, I mean, before he was president, it was kind of fun to hang out with him because he was this fun, crazy, funny, fabulous, full of crap guy who would just tell lies you could float in the Macy's parade, but it was kind of fun. So, for instance, whenever I'd go somewhere with him and he would say, oh, this is Rick Reilly, he's editor of Sports Illustrated. No, I'm just a writer there. And the next time I'd be the publisher of Sports Illustrated. And then, I own Sports Illustrated. And then he'd introduce me to other people like, this is Luigi. He was voted best hamburger chef in America. And Luigi's like, so I asked, I don't know if you've heard of Lee Trevino. He won 6 majors. So Trump sees Trevino one day at Trump down in Palm Beach. Lee Trevino, greatest golfer of all time. And Trevino's like, because he won 6 majors, which is good, but he's not the greatest golfer of all time. He says, what'd you shoot out here, Lee? And he goes, I shot 73, 1 over. And Trump said, come meet some guys. So he starts with Luigi. Luigi, this is Lee Trevino, just shot 69. He was like, what? And then the next guy, Charlie, this is Lee Trevino, greatest golfer of all time, just shot 66. Trevino goes, I had to get out of there before I broke the course record. It's crazy. Everything gets the Trump bump. I was in his office once, and Reilly, come in here. And you look at this, and he slaps down a yellow plastic laminated card. Read that. Because he's always trying to get over on you, like he's better than you, which he probably is, but anyway. So I pick up the card. It says, bearer eats free at any McDonald's worldwide. I'm like, wow, pretty cool. Because he'd just done a McDonald's ad. He goes, only 3 people in the world have that. Me, Michael Jordan, and Mother Teresa. And I'm like, really? So you're saying, Donald, right now, Mother Teresa's wheeling her Volkswagen through the drive-thru at the Calcutta McDonald's. And she's like, could I please have 10,000 chicken sandwiches? I mean, come on. He's just unbelievable. He'll just tell you anything. For instance, the Trump Tower is 58 floors, except it's not. He gave the Trump Tower the Trump bump. It's missing floors 20 through 30. And the reason he did it is because the GE building down the street was 54, and he wanted a bigger building than GE, but he couldn't do it, couldn't afford it, whatever, restrictions, whatever. And so, sorry, Mr. Trump, it's only 48 floors. So he skipped the 20 through 30s so he could say it's bigger than the GE building. All right, that's pretty brazen. Now you would think, well, what? That's harmless fun, right? Until 2 years ago, they had a fire in Trump Tower. You remember the fire? So the fire trucks are coming out, and so the fire, where's the fire? Where's the fire? It's on the 44th floor, they say. 44th. And they're like, there's no fire on the 44th floor. And they're like, and it was the 34th floor. And you're like, ah. And that's kind of what's happened with the presidency. It's like, ah. You know, it was kind of fun. It was really fun. And now it's maybe not so fun. So anyway, I didn't want to write this book, but it just kept writing itself. When you play with, I'll just tell you what it's like to play golf with Donald Trump. He always rides in his own cart with his caddy, and he's always 200 yards ahead. And in this way, he can foozle it, kick it, fudge it, whatever. The caddies at Wingfoot call him Pele because he kicks it so much. Pele. So his caddies will not only fix his ball, or he'll kick it, or he'll throw it, or they'll pull it out of the water. Or what happens a lot is you hit yours on the green, he hits his in the water. By the time you get there, you're in the water now. And the caddy's like, oh, sorry, ball's marked Trump. Well, the caddies have 4 or 5 balls in each pocket marked Trump. So then, ever since the book came out, I've become this national clearinghouse for Trump cheating stories. So the old caddy master at Trump Bedminster called me. He said, oh my God, I was the caddy master there for 10 years. I saw it all. Well, give me something. He says, well, Trump made sure they all had 4-inch green tees in their pocket, the caddies. For what? He said, so if he hit it in the rough, they'd be way ahead. Tee the ball up in the rough, and that's how he's able to hit driver out of the rough. I don't know if you play golf, but that's insane. Tiger Woods doesn't hit driver out of the rough. Speaking of which, Trump is brazen. He's an amazing cheater, but he doesn't hide it very well. He tries to hide it. He tried to cheat Tiger Woods. This is in the book. So Tiger and Dustin Johnson who comes here a lot, right, at Gaza Ranch, is playing against Trump and Brad Faxon, the terrific pro, and now he's on Fox. And so they're playing. So Trump and Faxon are on one team, and Dustin and Tiger are on another. And Dustin and Tiger playing the back tees, Trump and Faxon the front tees. Trump's getting 8 shots. So Trump hits it right. Tiger and Dustin are left, way left. So Trump's got a second shot. He's got to hit it over the water, chunks it into the water. So, okay, everybody does that. He says to Faxon, throw me another one they didn't see. And Faxon's like, what? Throw me another ball they didn't see. Faxon's like, okay. And he throws him another ball, chunks that one in the water. Hurries up with the cart, the super fast turbo cart, and he's there, hits it on. Now Tiger finally hits it on the green. He hits it like this for birdie. He's got this much for birdie. Trump's got like an 8-footer, and Tiger says, what's that for, Mr. President? And Trump says, 4 for a 3. Now, if you know golf, he's actually putting for 7. So you got to be pretty gutsy to treat. I mean, he is Tiger Woods. He might be able to tell if you've been cheating. And so I said to Faxon, well, did you say anything to him? I mean, he cheated right in front of you. And he goes, no, we didn't say anything. Why not? I said, why not? Because everybody's got their Trump cheating golf stories, but we didn't have one. All right, fine. I'm friends with a bunch of caddies in L.A., and I said, tell me some Trump stories. And, of course, they wouldn't put their name to this story, but one time we're playing along, and he hits it in the pond, and we all see the splash. I mean, we see the ripples. But by the time we get down to him, the ball's back on the fairway. And they're like, Donald, this is a money game. You can't do that. He's like, what do you mean? We saw the ball go in the pond. He goes, must have been the tide. Must have been the tide. I mean, it's unbelievable. So, okay. We know people who cheat. I don't like to play with them, but people cheat. But there's a certain circle of hell for a guy that doesn't just make his score better. He makes yours worse. Mike Tirico was playing with him once, hits the shot on this blind par 5. Trump's way up there already, and Tirico's like a 13. It's the best shot of his life. It's a fantastic shot. But when he gets up there, they can't find the ball. Caddy can't find it. They look in the hole. It's going to be a putt at an eagle for sure. Can't find the ball. I'm looking around. They finally see it in the bunker way over here. In the bunker. And later, Tirico finds out that Trump kicked it in the bunker. It's like, whoa. So, the other thing that bothered me is that he tells people, he said in a cabinet meeting, very few people can beat me playing golf. Well, yeah, with your caddies and at your courses and with the super turbo cart and the green tees, yeah, it's really hard to beat you. I know. He beat me. He took 7 mulligans, took a gimme chip in, which I've never heard of. He was off the green. He's off the green, and we're playing we're playing score, total score. And I get lucky and hit it in like this for an easy little birdie par, a little birdie putt. And he goes, well, that makes this good. He picked it up. I said, Donald, you just picked up a chip? He goes, oh, I probably wouldn't have missed that. I said, are you kidding? You chip like Edward Scissorhands. You are a terrible chipper. He's got a good long game. He's not a bad putter. He's real wristy, but he's just terrible around the greens with chipping. And so he's like, ah. And then, I paid him the $20, and then he bought me lunch, and that's how it is. But anyway, so he goes, very few people can beat me when it comes to golf. Well, not really, because he's played in the Pebble Beach Pro-Am 7 times. I played with him one year, the Stormy Daniels. No, that was the Tahoe thing. I played with him one year in Pebble, not with him, but behind him in his group. And in 7 years playing Pebble Beach, his team never made the cut. So 4 times of the 7, his pro made the pro cut, but he never once made the cut. So one person is heavy like a bowling ball, and the other guy, the weak link was Trump, because There were cameras. There were rules officials. There was an audience. It wasn't his caddies. So he'd shoot his 90, his 89, and it's not good enough. 3 times he played in the Tahoe tournament, celebrity tournament, and never once made the top half. Usually finished in the bottom quarter. But one year was the Stormy Daniels year, so he was probably tired. So, in fact, his handicap, if you want, I mean, Betty, we could put his handicap in the fiction section. It's a 2.8. 2.8 is nearly pro. Except when you can go on the Handicap website and look up where he's played and when. It's taken him 8 years to post his last 20 scores. Now we know in 2018 he played 161 times. So he ain't exactly posting all his scores. Now in golf is a game of etiquette, honor, and it's a sport of gentlemen and ladies. You immediately post your score, whether you went really low or you went really high, so that therefore we can have a good game. It's not like tennis or, a really great player can play against a 20 handicap and they can have a good game. Well, he's messing with the scores. He messed with the slope, which is the difficulty of the course. So it comes out 2.8. I mean, Jack Nicklaus is a 3.5. I mean, who would you bet on? You had to sweep the streets of Gdansk. You'd bet on Nicklaus, right? So I even have a $100,000 standing bet with Trump that I could beat him with my 6.1 and who's 2.8. He'd have to give me 3 shots as long as we don't play a Trump course, no green tees, no caddies, rules official, and a camera behind each of us. And he has not bit on that at all. But it's not just cheating. People think the book is just about cheating at golf. It's about everything he does with golf. I know the guy. He sees the world through golf-colored glasses. Everything is about golf. Like he ripped the Federal Reserve Chairman. That guy Powell, he couldn't even make a 3-foot putt. Funny story. Remember when Scaramucci or whatever his name was the PR guy? And he said that in a press conference. This guy, some other guy couldn't make a 3-foot putt. He's not a winner. Well, Scaramucci didn't think that was very impressive, a 3-foot putt. Oh, no, I know what he said. He said, I'm a winner. I can make 3-foot putts all day long. Well, Scaramucci didn't think it was that impressive, so he changed it in the transcript of the press conference to 30-foot putt. And I kind of wonder if Scaramucci didn't get a hold of that call transcript from the Ukraine. I don't know. He's really good. I mean, it's more than just cheating at golf. For instance, in his what's it called when they just they have to reveal how much they think they're worth, and it's a way to get loans. He's filled this form out a lot. He had to fill them out, and it's not like your taxes, but it's an estimate of. Thank you. He listed every single one of his 15 courses at $50 million. Now, Pebble Beach might be worth $50 million, but his Fairy Links Bronx, whatever, ain't worth any $50 million. And yet, as he was saying my course is worth $50 million to banks, he was suing the local tax boards for valuing his courses at $10 million, $9 million, $11 million. He said, nah, his lawyer said they're only worth about 1.8. So if you're scoring at home, that's a $48 million lie. That's a pretty brazen lie. It's not paying people who work for you. Do you guys realize since he's become president, I don't know why this hasn't made the papers. He's been sued twice by people and lost in regard to golf. One was these 2 brothers called the Enriquez brothers who painted Doral for him. And they had an outstanding bill of $300,000. The whole thing was a $500,000 job. It took, I think, a full year. And he just said, I'm not going to pay you anymore. I've paid you enough. And they're like, what? What are you talking about? I got my employees. I got my wife. I got his wife. We're all in one small company. Sorry, see my lawyer. So they did see his lawyer. They said, we're suing. And they sued and won the $300,000 plus another $150,000 in lawyers' fees and stuff like that. And nobody seems to report it. Interestingly, they both still said they'd vote for Trump. I don't know. Whatever, to each his own. You know this thing that happened with Mueller? And Mueller, Bob Mueller, he said, Bob Mueller's terribly conflicted. He's got a real beef with me. Well, Mueller was a member at the Trump course in Virginia. And what? Yeah, Virginia. And when Trump bought it, he didn't think that was right. He thought there might be a conflict of interest, FBI guy. So he resigned his membership. And as said in the contract, you get your membership money back when somebody new joins. And Mueller never got his money back, and people were joining left and right. And so he wrote a letter and said, what's the deal? How come I don't get my money back? And that is the dispute that Trump says Mueller hates him for. But Mueller said, I gave it up. I didn't care. I think it was 35 grand or something. But meanwhile, in Jupiter, Florida, at his course there, Trump Jupiter, all these people were owed $200,000 who quit as soon as he bought the thing. And he's given none of them money back. And he said, not only am I not going to give your money back, you have to keep paying your dues, and you're not allowed on the grounds. So what? So 200 people just took it and said, all right, I'll just stay. But 50 people said, no, I'm suing. And they won, since he's been president. They won $7 million. And for some reason, the standing president of the United States losing lawsuits doesn't seem to, I guess because it's golf and nobody cares, but he sees the world through golf-colored glasses. It affects it affects so many of the decisions he makes. Remember when Puerto Rico had the hurricane? Well, people don't seem to know that he was in a big business deal with the government of Puerto Rico to fix up a course down there called Cocoa Beach. And we're going to come down here, we're going to get my celebrity friends here, and we're going to save it. It wasn't doing well. And so they gave him all this money, and it didn't work. And they said, all right, well, see you later, nice try, but we're closing the course. No, you got to take out a loan from the Puerto Rican government, from yourselves, $32 million. I'll make this work. So they take out this loan. Halfway through, in the middle of the night, they pull up stakes and leave. So when this whole hurricane happens, he does this crap, and he never goes and sees the damage. And to me, it's pretty clear he doesn't want people to know about this Puerto Rican axe he has to grind, or they to him. But we do grind it in the book. He was caught trying to build a course in Cuba, a hotel and a course during the embargo. That's maybe why he closed up the pathway to Cuba that Obama opened. He's in business with the government of China on 2 courses in Indonesia. China has this incredible concrete firm, and he's using them to build all the roads in and out to the course and on the bike paths, the cart paths and all that. Nobody seems to care about that. And the reason he hates windmills is because of his course in Scotland, where, and I've been there, I've been on the course. They are kind of ugly, but they were going to go in no matter what. And he sued the government of Scotland over it and said they broke he lost that and damages. And so that's why he got up and said, windmills give you cancer. And I'm like, Donald, if standing in front of blowing wind gave you cancer, no one would stand in front of you. So, what usually happens at these things is, and I'm perfectly happy to take any questions about this from any side on this you are. Why does it matter? Who cares he cheats at golf? Clinton cheated at golf. Yes, I played with Clinton when he was president. He did cheat at golf. But it's like the guy that goes into the bank and steals the pen versus the guy that goes in and steals the vault. So Clinton would have, the day I play with him, and the secret, you got the limousine with thick glass, and we're riding to the golf course, and there's a bag between us. I'm like, what's in there? Is that the nuclear codes or something? Is that the nuclear? He goes, you want to look in there? Go ahead. And I open it up. It's all Twix bars. Not nearly, ain't exactly Jean Le Carre. But so we get there, and I realize he's got 24 clubs in his bag, which is 10 over the limit. That's kind of cheating. But he's like, oh, I want to try out some clubs today. Okay, we're not betting. And he wasn't very good. And so but unlike Trump, he wouldn't take a mulligan. He would play the shot that he hit. He would take billigans. So a billigan is where he hits the first shot. And it usually went, see, because he'd get up on his toes like that, and it would go way right. And so he'd like, let me hit another just for practice. That's cheating. And he would hit 5, 6, 7 of those. And this old 75-year-old caddy with the 24 clubs is trying to get these, and no one's helping, not the SWAT guys, nobody's helping the Secret Service guys, nobody's helping him get these balls. But he would play the first one, but I noticed, they'd be like, oh, what, anybody see my first ball? And the Secret Service, I think it's right near the pin, sir. I'm pretty sure. Because, you know, they all want to be ambassador to Sweden someday. So, And he kept hitting these balls way, way right. And the chief of protocol there, the chief of staff was there, and they had when you play with the president, they got I call it the porta potty. It's a porta potty turned on its side, and they can throw the president into this bomb shelter thing sideways, and then he's apparently protected from bombs. There's all kinds of, there's a vial of his blood, there's the red phone, there's the nuclear football. So all these, there's like 15 carts with us, but nobody's helping this caddy. And we get to the 13th hole, and this caddy's about to drop dead, and he hits the shot way right, and the caddy says, get off your toes, you ain't no damn ballerina. And the Secret Service guys are like this, and the chief of you know, and in the coolest country in the world, Clinton goes, my bad, you're right. I mean, if we were in Saudi Arabia, they'd have cut that guy's tongue out, found his kids, waited for them to have kids, cut all their tongues out. No, but and I remember we went back to the Oval Office, and we're going to have beers in the Oval Office and shoot the breeze a little bit more. And so he's like a half hour late coming in the Oval Office, and the phone is just ding, just lights. And he comes in, he's like, sorry, boys, I got this Bosnia thing breaking out on me. I love that. I'm like, hey, I got to go home and fix the minivan. Where's the beers? Anyway. Oh, so almost always someone, a conservative person usually gets up at these things and says, what does it matter? I've always said, golf is like bicycle shorts. It reveals a lot about a man. And if you cheat in the easiest game in the world to cheat at, that says a lot about your soul. Because if I'm 100 yards over here and you're 100 yards over there, we just trust each other that you're going to play honestly, and I'm going to play honestly. And when you get to the green, you're going to say, I'm putting for a 6. You didn't see I whiffed one or whatever, because that's what golf is. It's a game. My dad always said, Ricky, it's a game of gentlemen. We don't cheat our friends, no matter if you lose, no matter if you win, whatever. And we always, have a beer afterwards. So it reveals. I remember I played golf with Arnold Palmer a couple of times. And I remember one time we were about to play in Florida, and it was supposed to be just me and him. And some guy he said, oh, this guy's joining us. I'm like, who is he? He said, this guy, I might do a business deal with him. I'd like to. And so I want to play with him. He goes, because I never get into a business deal with a guy before I've played golf with him. I'm like, why? And he said, because you can find out so much about a person in 4 hours. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, like, if they're fun for 4 hours, they're going to be fun to be in business with. If they're swearing or they're cheating, I'm going to know it. And I'm not going to want to be in business with that guy. And Arnie's dead, rest his soul, but I'm not sure he'd want to be in business with Donald Trump because he cheats like a mafia tax accountant. So does it matter? It matters to me. Every year we have so my dad's favorite player was Jack Nicklaus. And he, ever since 86, do you remember 86, the Masters, when Nicklaus, you remember, and he wore that yellow shirt. And people don't know, the reason he wore the yellow shirt, you know the reason? Yeah, the reason he wore the yellow shirt was some young kid in Ohio had written him who was dying of leukemia, like a 7-year-old kid. And Mr. Nicholas, you're my favorite, and you're my dad's favorite. And at the Masters on Sunday, will you wear a yellow shirt so I know you got this letter? So that's why he wore the yellow shirt. He's 5 down as he makes the turn, makes a bogey on 12, and then all heaven breaks loose. He goes crazy, wins the tournament at 46 years old, and it's the greatest thing ever. I mean, I was there. I called my dad right away. His favorite player was Nicholas. And so after my dad died, so from that day forward, my dad wore a yellow shirt every day. You're like, we got to get you more yellow shirts, Dad. So we all got him. He had like 20 yellow shirts, but he always wore a yellow shirt. So now every year we have a tournament called the Reilly Roundup in honor of my dad, and we all wear yellow shirts, right? And not once has anybody said, yeah, I'm in New Jersey, but I played pretty well today. I'm the winner. Never once has he said, yeah, I don't like that guy. Make me the winner. I play by myself, so make me. No, we play honestly because it's not about winning or losing. It's about the honor of the game. But for him, everything is about winning or losing. Having known him for 35 years, he has to win, and that's why he loves golf the most. You can win 18 times, a 19th time at the 19th hole when you have to pay him, and no matter what you have to do to cheat, lie, kick, fuzzle, food, whatever you do to win, that's what he does. And so I just want to read you one quick passage because I hate it when people read from their book. But this is the conclusion I came to and why I wrote the book. I feel sorry for Donald Trump. I feel sorry for someone who has to juggle that many spinning lies, who has to fight that many endless feuds, who has to cheat and lie and insult so many good people just to stand on a rickety first place podium that never stops needing rebuilding. How exhausting must that be? The truth is, the person in golf Donald Trump cheats the most is himself. He's cheating himself of the joy, the endless challenge that golf brings. Every golfer who loves the game loves it for the battle it brings within himself. Can I rise up to be as good as I want to be today? In life, we're defined by the obstacles we overcome. That's the stuff we hang on our inner wall. That's the stuff that matters. But if you cheat to get around those obstacles, then you never know the thrill of actually beating them. It's like buying a trophy in a pawn shop. You can shine it up and show it off and pretend you won it and put it on your fireplace mantle, but when you get close to it, it only reflects the face of a loser. And that's how I feel. And I feel like if you're a cheater at golf, you're a loser. People ask me, you liked him? I kind of liked him until he became president. And they said, but tell us the story. I always tell this story. The only time I ever saw Donald Trump be humble was at the end of played golf, took the limo back to Fifth Avenue. He dumps me out on the corner there by Central Park West. And I lean in the window because this was for my book, Who's Your Caddy? I was caddying for him for this book. And so he goes, I go, hey, you want to do it again tomorrow, Donald? And he goes, for most people, one day of me is enough. And if I could just see him now, I would just like to say, for most of us, one term would be enough. Thank you, Donald. Thank you. Thank you. So we have a few minutes left. Do you want to go hunt for books? Do you want to yell at me? Betty said there's no shooting in the library. It's much too loud. So, no, you had one.
Wait. If you're going to make a comment, we need to put you on the mic because we're recording.
This guy has swallowed a loudspeaker at birth.
I'm sorry.
This guy.
Wait. Okay. Here. Well, you want all the fans out there to hear you, right? So here.
We can hear this guy.
Since your book has came out, has Trump talked to you?
Oh. What does a guy got to do to get a tweet? The guy will tweet about an angry postcard he got. He tweets about every book out there, good or bad, small or indifferent. Not a tweet. And I think it's because one of my best buddies is one of his best buddies. And I think he told him, but he won't tell me this. He said, I think he told him, don't get in a Twitter war with this guy. Because even though you have the best words, he's got more words. And but then my caddy buddy told me a story. He said he was caddying along with my buddy and 2 other announcers and a 4th guy. And Trump calls my buddy. And my buddy puts it on speakerphone so everybody walking down the fairway can hear Trump. And he's in the White House, right? And he's like, nobody better talk to that asshole Reilly. So, thank you. So now I have to be in a room with Meryl Streep and Robert De Niro, so that sucks. Yes?
So this is library appropriate. Have you ever seen the man read a book?
No, but I did put in a couple books that are up there now. Please read this to Trump. Yeah. I would say, if he'd ever tweet me, I would say, okay, who read you the book? Come on. No, I've never seen him with a book. I can remember one time we were riding along a limo and there's the youngest gal, Tiffany, and we're riding, and he's on one side, I'm on the other, Tiffany's in the middle, and he's like, Tiffany, baby. Well, first of all, he goes, I don't see Tiffany that much. I don't need to be one of these helicopter parents. I fly her in a couple times a year for dinner. Okay. That ought to do it. So he goes, baby, did you see this? And then we went by 5 buildings that had his name on it. Someday these are all going to be yours, baby. And she's like, all yours. And she goes, excuse me? What?
Can you compare Obama's game to Trump's game?
Oh, sorry.
Are you really a 6.5? And how did you get so good?
Yes, I turn in every score. My last 2 scores are 77 and 88. So I got so bad, you mean? Retirement really helps. It really helps. But do you have a handicap? You got to be honest, or else the games are no fun. And the other thing is, everybody I talked to at Wingfoot said we won't play with him anymore because his handicap's fake and he cheats. And I said, but his handicap's fake low, so you could kill him. So no, he can really cheat. Oh, quick I'll tell you a quick Wingfoot story. So this really pissed him off. So he belonged to Wingfoot, but he hasn't been in there in years because people won't play with him. But one time, Hillary Clinton wanted to get her brother Hugh Rodham Clinton on. So she called, and sure enough, and I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of Hugh Rodham Clinton, but he's about 5'5", 400 pounds. So he shows up in shorts. Well, you can't wear shorts at Wingfoot. So the caddy master says, go into the locker room and get him a rain suit because none of the pants would fit him in the pro shop. So the caddy goes and gets him Trump's rain pants. And oh my God, so Rodham played in Trump's rain pants, and Trump found out about it, and he made them burn the pants and buy him an all-new rain suit, which is pretty funny.
Can you compare Obama's golf game to Trump's golf game?
I've never played golf with Obama. He was my fantasy football partner for a week once, and he knew so much about fantasy football. It was crazy. Like, well, let's take this guy. Oh no, they got a new receivers coach. I don't like their chances here. I don't even know that, and I'm a paid sports writer. But I remember we picked our team, and then I said, look, Mr. President, I have to call you on. He says, you need to call me after the Monday night game so I can ask you, get a couple quotes about how we did. Because it's one of those 1-week DraftKings leagues, and he says, all right, I'll call you Tuesday morning. I said, I can't Tuesday morning. I'm getting married. And he goes, who would marry you? So, it just so happens, I happen to marry a one-time Miss Junior California. She was Miss Junior California like last year, but still. So I had a picture of her on my desktop thing in a bikini. It was a pretty good picture. And he goes, "Oh, is she visually impaired or completely blind?" No, but the only thing that's actually about his golf is that because he plays a lot with my friends Michael Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser. For some reason, he likes Sportswriters. And so he plays with, they play with him, and I say, "So what's it like?" "You got to putt everything out." He doesn't give a shit. And he has to putt everything out. And so I said, "So how do you think he'd do against Trump?" And they said, "I don't know, but he's getting better since retirement." And I'm like, "That sounds familiar." Yes.
We were inspired every Friday when we'd get their Sports Illustrated and we were there. But is there one story that comes to mind?
Thank you.
And
What's that?
do you have one story that comes to mind of all of them? I mean, we sat and read forever just waiting here. Is there some inspirational story, something that is carried with you? Because you would write things that no one knew about. And maybe an unfair question, but is there something, some memory, some thought or two that has stayed with you?
One time I wrote about a cross-country kid in South Carolina named Ben Coleman. And this kid was terrible at cross-country. His teammates would run the 3.1 miles or something, and they'd run it in 17, 18 minutes. And he would take 53 minutes to run it. And they got tired of waiting for him. The reason it took him so long is he had cerebral palsy, had affected his right side. And so if he fell a lot, and he fell on his right side, it would mark up his face, and he was all scarred up, and he had to drag his whole right side. And so his mom begged him to quit, and the coach begged him to quit. He said, "I can't quit." And they said, "Why not?" And he said, "I can't quit on my teammates." So the teammates got tired of waiting for him, because it's like 30-some minutes. They'd go out and run the last mile and a half, 2 miles with him. But in cross country, you can't touch your teammate. You can't help him up. So they'd run at this incredibly slow pace, wait for him to get up, because they were a team, right? And now they'd finish together, and then pretty soon the girls' team started doing it with him. And then pretty soon the cheerleaders from that school started doing it. So now you got 40 kids doing it with him. And he's plowing ahead, all marked up. And then opposing teams would do it. This is the beauty of kids, right? They just have so much heart. And for them, it's not all about winning and losing. And then the opponent's cheerleaders. And then the last meet of the year, every team, every boys and girls runner, and every cheerleader ran with this kid. And apparently it was 220 kids, with all the parents just crying at the finish line. And it was just a lovely column. And the best part of it was, I get this letter from Kevin Costner, the actor. He's like, "Oh, man, you had me crying. I love that kid. That's the kind of kid I want that kid to succeed." He says, "So will you tell him, and here's my number, and here's my address, I'm going to pay for all his education the rest of the way as far as he goes. As far as he wants to go, I'm going to pay for it." And the great part of the story is, this guy, Ben Coleman, is now a doctor. So, like, we just stuck it to Kevin Costner. Guys, thank you so much. This has been really fun. Thank you for accepting me. Sorry about you guys in the holdover room. I will sign until my hand drops off if you want me to sign. If you want to go hunt for books, whatever. There's a million great books up there, right and left. I got to admit it. So, but thank you for such a warm welcome, and thank you for being here.